Hey guys, welcome, Rafael here. In this tutorial I'm gonna show you my workflow and how I did my latest project called the Burrow from the Harry Potter's world. But first I like to thank Wacom for the opportunity. It was an amazing experience and I'm not gonna go deep into the technical aspects because there are lots of tutorial out there showing how to export displacement and showing how to model. So instead, I'm gonna show you what I think that is important and how I think why I'm doing this kind of project. My rig is a Mobile Studio Pro 16-inch. I love it because as I work at home, it's great to be able to pick my gear and go out, do some sketches, doodles, and even continue to work at a coffee shop or something like this. And I have also a Wacom link that allows me to use my mobile studio as a Cintiq on my computer. I have also a ProPen 3D. It has an extra button, so it helps a lot to navigate inside the 3D softwares like Maya, ZBrush. So now I invite you to watch the tutorial and I hope you enjoy it. So we're going to start to look at this project by the blocking. On the left side of the screen, you can see the concept art by Andrew Williamson. This is an original concept of the Burrow from the Harry Potter movies. I've put this image as image plane because it's hard and frustrating to start to work on a 3D space without any references, any guides. My intention is not to make a remake of this concept, but to create my own version of this house. As you can see, I'm always taking a look at the references that I gathered. So when you are working without following any concept, with just a bunch of references to guide you, you have to research and understand which key aspects makes this element to be what it is. I mean, this house have a huge fan base that knows exactly how it looks like, and it was described on the books and it was on the movies. So you have to capture this, you have to capture those aspects, and at the same time you have to balance with your touch, your view, with what you have to say and to show the world. So remember to balance this because you want to make something new. It have to be recognized and it have to be unique. The blocking step is not modeling, so work only with primitives and maybe some extrudes and moving some vertex, but don't go deeper than that. Try to define the bigger shapes first, and once you are happy with those, go to the smaller ones. The blocking step is one of the more important steps of 3D production because in this part we will define the design and the shapes, and this is why many people have unfinished work in progress, because they want to go faster to the most exciting parts of the production like sculpting, modeling, lighting, but without having a good foundation, doesn't matter how much we strive in the following steps, it will look weird, and sometimes you can tell what is bothering your eyes, but you know there's something wrong. Imagine when you are drawing, if you don't resolve the face shape well. Doesn't matter how much you do a good job in the eyes, in the nose, in the face, it will look completely weird. So why would be different in 3D? I know that working on the blocking is not that fun, but you have to take it seriously. Otherwise, we will end with an unfinished whip or with a completed work that have that sensation that it could have been much better. And in the end, you be with a not so good work and you just wasted a lot of time. So this step is about having patience and experimentation. Also in the step you should more or less define your cameras, because this way you know where to put your effort on. To talk about the modeling, I will take a different approach this time. So in this time, instead, I want to share with you some tricks and some things that makes all the difference in the end of the day. So you can see that I'm using everything that we did on the blocking stage as a base to start to model. Looking at the wood planks, you can see that I've only made some cuts where I wanted to separate all the pieces, and then I extruded it, but the silhouette pretty much remains the same. As we are making this house basically without a concept, using a mix of references, I'm doing the modeling in a really simple way just to see how the house is coming along, how the house is looking, and I'm letting all the borders, all the corners of the models in 90 degrees. This is terrible for 3D because in the real world we never have this kind of corners. As much as you think that some element is really sharp and the edges are really hard, they are never 90 degrees. There always a little crease, little bevel on it. So after defining all the look and modeling all the basic shapes, I went back to all the elements and started to bevel all the corners and to make it rounder. So in the lighting step, we can see that the light reacts in a much better way. Many people came to me asking how I placed the roof tiles together and bricks, the stones. And the answer is simple. I did this manually. I like to work this way. It's kind of a therapy. I mean, obviously, if I have the proper deadline to do so. Otherwise, you could use some plugin or even mesh from Maya. Working with 3D, we have many ways to do something, and you should do in the way you feel more comfortable. I don't mind placing all by hand if I have the time, and this is why you are going to see on the sculpting stage that all the sculpture of the wood, the roof and the stones, I did this way also. I've sculpted all manually. I didn't use alphas and this kind of stuff. I like to work this way. I think it's part of the process. Helps to give that handicrafted feel to the piece. And there's this trick that I wanted to share with you. It helps to make your model to look much more appealing and much more complex. When you have repetitions, and in this case we have a lot of them, we have repetitions on the bricks, on the roof, on all the wooden planks, on the wooden structure. So We have to break all these patterns. We have to make every single of them look unique. So you can use the sculpting tool from Maya, using the move tool, even the rotate or scale, to make some randomization, to break the patterns and to give a more organic feel to your models. This is so important, and it's just a matter of 1 hour or two of work to break this. And in the end of the day, this is what makes all the difference between an interesting element and a boring one. So for the modeling step, this is it. So let's start sculpting. The part that I enjoy most, to be honest, one of the parts I enjoy most. I've chosen the side of the tower to demonstrate to you here what's my approach, but later I will put some time lapses of my work in this tower, on the stones, also on the roof, because I think that is going to help you to clarify how to do this kind of whimsical style. So while we were working with some faces of characters and organic stuff, the main rule of working on ZBrush is only subdivide if you really need to. You don't want to work with some really high resolution models if you don't need to. In this case, I do the contrary. I always start subdividing a lot my geometry. I always do this kind of things to define the knots. As you can see, there's no resolution here. And if you divide now, I just lost some time here because the strokes is not there anymore. So if we do directly on high resolution, I can do this effect and I will not have to redraw after. So this is how I work, and you should work always how you feel more comfortable. The 3D career is hard enough and you don't have to put more weight on your back. So the brushes that I use to work are the damp standard, and I like to define the wrinkles and the knots and the overall design of the wood with this brush. I like to break a little bit the edges also. Remember to play with the intensity of your brush. I love the Mobile Studio and the Cintiq because as I'm not a really good drawer, it's incredible how steadier is my stroke when I'm painting directly on the screen. This improved my workflow a lot. Remember, you can start really subtle and go pressing more and you have a nice effect. Here you can put some other knots, and here you can start hard and go. You can start hard here and go softer and go hard again. And let's work with only this piece here. It's small, but it's easier to work and to demonstrate you how I do. So let's define the main shapes. Like here one, here two, maybe some here. Don't worry about this nasty and ugly part. We're going to fix that later. Let's make some knot here, a little bit more detail here. I think it's lacking. There's one. Put here a little bit more. Okay, let's work this way. I will pick these clay tubes to define better the shapes. So let's lower the size a little bit, and you can play defining shapes here. Let's make it a little bit bigger. We can break the edges, it's important. On the real life, you never have some 90 degrees angle edges, and these smaller details matter a lot. So let's break here. Always keep your references in mind, and on the second screen, always try to follow the guidelines I did with the dam standard brush. We can go crazy sometimes here, making some more defined strokes. I mean, what really matters is to have fun. Just enjoy the moment, don't rush it. I think that this is well defined for the look I wanted to give for this piece. So the next step is to pick the flattening or the edge polish brush, and let's take a little bit of this, not erase the details, but they look more natural, more subtle. Then after doing this, I like to pick the clay buildup and I like to break a little bit some edges here like this. I can break. I can go to the dam standard again, and if you lost some of that nice wrinkles, you can draw it back here, just define. Just let your mind and your pencil flow, and you always have a lot of undos if you do something wrong, but it's great to experiment anyway. So I like also the slash brush. It's great to make a little cracks or some extra details here like this one. You can break more these edges. Also you can add here some deeper strokes here, and that's it. Now I'm going to show you the time lapses, and let's go to the next step.